Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about 5 things that a manager should prepare for in 2021. Well, let me start by saying that 2020 was a year that impacted us all. No matter who you are or where you are, 2020 had a big impact on our lives. And by that I mean mentally, physically, emotionally. But for us, managers and leaders, it is not our job and responsibility to dwell on battles. We need to look ahead. We need to oversee in order to overcome. So maybe you can look at it from a different perspective. 2020 showed us on an individual and on a global level what really is meaningful to our lives. This year showed us what is really important to us. And from a managerial perspective, from a leadership perspective, it means that we can connect to what is important to us, because that is very well and very clear in front of our feet. Well, maybe it hasn't been so clear ever. We are here now looking back at 2020, looking ahead to 2021 with hope and with faith. But we know what matters to us. We know what is important to us. So for companies, it is important to do something with that. To create communities, to strengthen communities. Because in the future, work and life will be blended more and more together. New generations gaining more and more ground, being programmed in a completely different way. They don't care about doing the things the right way, they just want to do the right thing. And as you, as a business leader or as a manager, want to have stability within your operations, it is important to provide people a second home in the office. A safe haven on which they can build on. They can trust. I know that might be a story that is still a little bit in the future, but it is happening right now. And if you want to avoid operational risks in the future, it is important to open your eyes and ears and listen to them who will decide in the future where they feel comfortable, trusted, acknowledged, and validated. Because otherwise people will just leave. And that's not what we wish for you. So 2020 gave us an opportunity to define what really matters to us. And now, as a company, as a team, as a leadership, we can offer the opportunity to make a true connection, doing it right. Knowing we have responsibilities for performance, for financial expectations toward our stakeholders, yes, that will not change for now. But we can create a movement really that connects to something that matters to us on a personal, individual, and a collective level. And if you can manage to hit the right tone, the right people will be on board and will stay on board. They will be committed. And you can progress and move forward. So here's a thought for you before we continue into like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what's going to happen. Just ask yourself the question, why did this need to happen? Why did 2020 needed to happen? To you as a person, for the company, and for the world. It is a question that really opens a new perspective. And that new perspective will inspire you to take the next step in your leadership and in creating successful organizations. And that is really what we're going to talk about in this video. In the future, successful companies are built on strong connections and the ability to give meaning to their workforce. That doesn't mean that you only need to sail on the compass of popularity. On the contrary, a vision, a purpose, and a mission is about determination. And if you haven't made that shift, it is time to do so. Every company, every organization has the ability to contribute to something that is bigger than the company itself. There has to be a sense of service. If not, eventually people will not only be burned out, but will leave if they didn't already. So looking for a way where your products or your service can contribute and build something sustainable. Getting a clear message on that topic will make you successful in the future. Because if there is one thing people learned from the last year, it's probably what they don't want or what they don't need. Well, I leave it up to you to come up with the examples, and I'm very happy if you disagree with me. But there is this sense of awareness right now in the world that creates a movement with people who want to do the right thing, to build on something that contributes not only to a better world, but to better communities, to sustainability, etc., etc. And for organizations and leaders, it is key to get your story straight. Have a message you send out to the world. Have a message you send out to your people. Even the worst examples set the example. It is time to define and give meaning to your existence as a company, as a manager, as a team. And allow people to fill that space with what they do best. Get the message straight. Because after a year, people want to connect. We are human beings, we are sensitive human beings, and we are programmed to be a part of a group, be a part of something. And if you can facilitate that as a leader and as a company, people want to be a part of that. So many good examples already in the world, and so many good work that can be done. But you have to switch the button. You have to onboard and go for it. It's not a hard message. It's very simple. As long as it comes from within, as long as it comes from you, it will work, and it will work for you. So as people come back to the office, a lot of things will be about practicalities and will be about hygiene, of course, and how we're going to arrange things in the departments, on the work floors, etc. But that is all something I'm very sure you are well aware of how to work that out. I want to talk about the other side of that coin. The other side of the coin is people need to reconnect to each other, to the leadership, to the management, to the company. People are disattached, and we need to onboard them again. So really going and working from onboarding them by inviting them to be open on what really was meaningful to them in 2020. Get a sense on the red line, read between the lines on what was really important for your people. Allow them to have that conversation. It is not only about practicalities. This is 100% emotion. And we are not likely to dwell on the emotion, but we need to acknowledge it. And you will also get a sense on what people drive at the moment, because that will be different than the drives they had before 2020. So here, once again, returning back to the office, it is about onboarding them again, making an intellectual and emotional connection, and redefine what is important to them and how they can contribute to the mission of the company. And that is a conversation. That is not really, these are the goals, this is quarter 1, this is quarter 2. No. This is really about a mutual, equal conversation on what really matters to us and how we are going to contribute to that message. It will be different per team, will be different maybe from individuals, but there will be a red line. And if you can touch those, I would say, nuggets of wisdom, nuggets of insights, and you can just anchor them towards your strategy, for the first 6 months, it will be very clear how you can deliver your strategies and how you can actually progress in the delivery of your vision, getting results and performances. But the ones who will just bypass the emotions, they will get stuck because people will just simply not feel validated by their management and remain disattached. And that is not in favor of any performance or any result. So coming back to the company, allow that moment of community and the story that people tell. Listen to what really matters to them and take those components and translate them to your strategy. Show them how they can be of meaning to the company on just a practical and simple everyday basis. 2021 will be a year with a lot of business movement. As people will go probably back to the office, restructuring awaits. A lot of companies try to keep a lot of people on board, but there is a tiredness, a financial tiredness that comes with it. And those restructurings and reshufflings literally rebuild the company, rebuild the organization. It is not something you have to be afraid of. If you are, my suggestion is, we all have a purpose in life, and that goes beyond our current circumstances. There is always an opportunity for you to be of difference and of value. And that exceeds the job that you are in right now. So if you're afraid of the reorganization or restructuring, reshuffling, sure, you have to walk between the lines. You have to do the right thing. But don't be overwhelmed by fear. It is not necessary, because your path will continue anyway. Having that said, more business movement asks for companies to redefine their purpose. Why are they here, and why do they still exist? Even after all this happened, they still exist. It didn't just happen. It wasn't just faith or a coin that fell the right way. There is a very important reason why companies and organizations exist. And from that existence comes the justification of their purpose. But it is not something that should be taken for granted. You have to do something with it. You have to onboard and surrender to that purpose. And if it's not sharp, you have to redefine it. Everyone who walks out of the elevator or the staircase in the morning should be able to answer the question, why are you here? If they can't, work needs to be done. Working with that purpose opens the conversation with the people. So what do we do best? What is our significance? What is our X factor? Because that's the fundament you build on. It is something that within organizations can be unclear for a long time. You feel it. You feel it when it's not clear. You feel it when you walk down the corridors and you look at people going everywhere and nowhere, but you miss the spirit of determination. You miss the presence where you feel we are on a journey together. If that's the case, change it, or it will change you. There's always a great opportunity to have that conversation with each other. If you do not define it, it will define you, unfortunately, and you will be limited in your ways to control it. Unfortunately, that is the way it works. But if you can reinvent yourself in the new year, in 2021, and redefine that purpose and show people how, from their own significance on an individual and on a team level, how they can contribute to that purpose, it is like a click. It's like the machine, all the cogs coming in the right direction, and it's just running. It is just running. It is an oiled machine. And that is really what we want for you. to get the machine up and running again? Well, the way of work is important, but we are not only here to maintain the current way of work. We need to allow new ways of thinking to turn into new ways of working. That's the important thing. There will always be the limitations. I mean, we all have our challenges, but those challenges are there to show us something, to teach us a lesson. And as soon as you get the understanding of what that really shows you, you can do something about it. And it will not longer control you. No leader or company can do everything at the same time. We will need to set priorities to deliver according expectations of the board, of stakeholders, of teams, whatever. And there are just 3 things that are fundamental when it comes to organizational psychology, I would like to say. People and people's minds. 1, safety. People will need to feel safe. If they don't, nothing can progress. It is the job of our conscious mind to keep us safe. I would say it is the only job of the conscious mind. So when people feel or sense or think they are not safe, they will seek for safe grounds. So if the company cannot provide a level of security, that needs to be fixed first before something else can happen. Another thing for people, and that's the second tier, validation. Validation that they are seen for what they put on the table. It also counts for products. They want to be seen and validated. And the third one, acknowledgement. Acknowledging that they are of value. Acknowledging that they are contributing to the output and the outcome of the organization. So these 3 factors are fundamental: safety, validation, acknowledgement, in any order. If the safety is not there, you cannot move forward. That is just simply how it works. But if you are able on a collective and individual level to answer that need, people will just open up and act from strength and act from presence, and that will always contribute to the growth and progress of the company. So there's a lot of stake, and this is not only about the things that the leadership say or write down, it is about a feeling people get. People are very smart and very sensitive, and they have sensors that can actually distinguish right from wrong and truthful from persuasiveness. But then again, you can do it. You can actually align the 3-tier system so that people can just do what they came to do. It will help us all tremendously if we, for once and for all, understand that we are different from each other. And different will be the new standard. Well, no one is an exception to the rule. As a child, we want to be a part of something. A group, maybe. A movement. We want to fit in. Only if we can acknowledge our differences, we can see that in the essence of who we are the same. Diversity and inclusion is awfully connected with minority groups. Untruthful, if you ask me. Because every living individual in some way is different. And the reason for that is we all have something that is unique and significant. And that makes us diverse. And at the same time, if we can acknowledge that diversity, we will see and come to understand how much we are the same. But we can only make a connection with equality if we accept how we are different. So in the future, it will be about how you stand out, what really makes you different. We need to focus on significance rather than outlook. Why? Well, because simply we need skilled people. And everybody has a skill, something that they do good, that makes them stand out from anybody else. So there is no really leading standard. There just isn't. In every layer of the organization, from all walks of life, rich or maybe educated, or maybe they were taught by the college of life. It didn't matter. They have something in common. There is something inside of them that makes them feel different from one another. Significant. And I would say valuable. It will not go away. We are in the era of the big I am. Look at social media, where people are trying to draw the perfect picture, trying to commit to the perfect picture for the likes and the followers. The big I am. But once we really accepted that I am, another window opens where we can actually where we not only exist, but where we contribute. And so each and every one of us in a certain way is different. But if we accept and validate that significance, people will feel safe. Safe to show you what they got. From strength, from presence, show you what they got. And you want it. Because it can be of difference and value to the company. And maybe to you as a person, as a leader. So including them isn't about saying you are different, but I'll take you on board. You are different, but there is no but. That is nonsense. We need you because you are different. We need you because you stand out. And for that reason, you are valuable to me as a person, but also to the company. Shift the focus in that discussion. Lead the way. Because people are navigating, finding a way in their minds to accept themselves. So the outlook will become less more important. Money will become less of a holy grail. Other things will become important for the next generations. And they will not tolerate being excluded from the conversation. And they don't have to be, because their difference is their significance. It is not about what you put on the poster or in your marketing campaign. It is about how you make people feel. And that conversation starts by acknowledging how you are different and realizing how you are the same. It is a beautiful conversation to have with yourself and with others. Not knowing what surprise planet Earth and life will have for us in 2021, we do know this. We will all try to rebuild, to get up and get things going. And when you rebuild, you need building blocks. And my message for you is to figure out what those building blocks should be. On a personal level, on a managerial level, and on a global level. You will not be able to build a beautiful new house with those building blocks already in January. It takes time, it doesn't matter. Everybody is always so conscious of time. We are really here to learn and to progress, and time is just a factor. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't be afraid of time. You have time to learn and to progress. It is the circumstances that you want to control, and that is understandable. But above all, people will need to rebuild. We'll want to rebuild in 2021. And we need to find out our building blocks. What are we going to rebuild? A building block can be trust. A building block can be meaning, safety, connection, development, discovery. It is for you to find out and define what the building blocks are. It is much easier if you get a grip on what the last year meant for you. Figure it out first, and then show others how to do it. There is this mental approach on rebuilding. We just, close our eyes and go. We are determined to rebuild. That's a good thing. That is really what we've always done. But we don't want to fall into the same blocks on the road, bumps on the road, as we did earlier on. And we can prevent that by taking learning of the last year, gaining that insight and defining what that really means to us, because that meaning will be the building block you start with in the new year. It is really not that hard. And if you're in a leadership position, I'm sure you're going to figure it out for yourself, so you can help others to do it. And they will bring their own building blocks. And together you can build something beautiful. It doesn't really take away the challenges, and in the future, change will become more rapid and unexpected. It will be just a stable factor, and that's okay, because your company's purpose or your personal purpose move beyond that current state of being. Don't be afraid of that. But before I leave you, I'd like to say, what are your building blocks for 2021? It is not about the battles won or the battles lost, but what is the wisdom you gained from the last year? What is that building block you put down and that will help you in the future? I wish you well, and I'm sure you're going to do a really good job. Good luck.